Hello, hello, hello. Whew. I'm kind of glad that my phone let me go live. I got kind of chatty on the phone and not on the phone, but I mean using my phone for Facebook, etc. And I didn't have it plugged in and it didn't charge up very fast. So anyway, I'm hoping that it doesn't go off. I think I've got it plugged in, so I think I'm good. But anyway, while we're waiting for people to hop on, I don't know if you saw the subject for tonight is who do you admire? So if you would please, in the comments, if you would type, you don't have to put the person's whole name, or if it's just, if it's a certain friend, or if you want to do initials or just a first name. While we're waiting for people to hop on, I'd love for you to just type who is someone that you admire or someone that inspires you. And I just had a really oh, hey Catherine, good to have you on. I just had a really interesting thought process like through the whole weekend, but especially today. And maybe it was all the allergy and cold medications that I was on. I don't know. But I got to thinking about this, and it's funny because my friend Andy just started this conversation in a small group that we're in about being admirable and being inspired or inspiring. And it let me know that this was a good topic because it lets me know that I'm not the only one that goes there. So, throughout our lives, there are so many people that we admire and that we look up to. Hey, that's okay. You just design away, girlfriend. Design that jewelry away. And so it was kind of a little teaser on why you're probably wrong. You're probably not wrong to admire the people that you do. But I think we're leaving something out. We're missing something. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight. When I looked up admiration in the dictionary, it's defined as respect and warm approval. So think about the person whose name I asked you to bring to mind. And is that how you feel about them? Admirable means something regarded as impressive or worthy of respect. That person, are we still fitting the bill there? I know for the people in my life that I have admired and respect and consider inspirational. Hey, Kathy, that's the case. So, let's think about this a little bit. Who do we admire? And why do we admire them? Hey, Wendy Sue. So often we don't feel admirable, do we? One of the conversations we were having is, am I worthy of being admired? Am I someone who's inspiring other people? And I think so often we don't even think of ourselves as, we don't admire ourselves, I think because from the time we're very young, we're taught, oh, don't, think too highly of yourself. That's not polite. Don't brag about yourself. Or we see other people who have accomplished more than we have in the areas that we want to accomplish. And we think, well, they're so much better than I am. They're so much more admirable and inspirational. They've accomplished so much more. And so I should not look at myself nor expect other people to look at me as admirable or inspirational. And, I thought about this a lot over the weekend and really since my book launch because, yeah, Barbara, it is old school learning. But I saw so many comments of people saying, oh, you're so inspirational and, I'm so inspired by you. And, after a while, I was just like, wow, that's just incredible to be thought of that way. And I'm not being falsely humble. I know that the book had a lot of power and that the words had a lot of power to heal. And I've already gotten that feedback. And I'm so happy for that. And I'm proud of myself because it was not easy. But a lot of times I think we get lost in the shuffle, and I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that. We stop, even if we do think highly of ourselves or are proud of ourselves and recognize that we've accomplished something admirable and inspiring. And people will tell you that most of the time they're sincere. It's not just, they're not just building you up. People are, there are a lot of people that I've met that inspire me. But I think sometimes that we begin to stop seeing or never see anything admirable or inspirational in ourselves. And we get lost along the way. And that's so sad. But, when I was researching, like, how that happens, how do we get our inspiration back? How do we inspire ourselves and learn to admire ourselves or admire ourselves again? And there were some key things that were so crucial to make sure that we continue to think highly of ourselves. And that is that we need to be decisive. We need to make a decision, and then we need to go. Whatever that decision is, if it's a decision toward our dream or if it's some other goal, right, why don't we chase our dreams? Exactly. If we waffle back and forth on things, then we can't make up our minds and we never start. And so we feel defeated because we spend all of our time, we end up with that, what's that term? Analysis paralysis. And it happens to everybody. And sometimes it only lasts a little while. Sometimes it lasts a lifetime. And that's so sad that we never start. So that's one way that we can start getting ourselves in the right frame of mind to see ourselves as worthy of admiration. Right, we get lost in life and we forget who we are, who we used to be. That's exactly right, Lisa. So that's why we need to take action to get ourselves back, to get back to who we are, who we were meant to be, who we were made to be. We have to act like we mean it. And these are tips, I always research tips and get them from experts who I admire. So we have to act like we mean it. And we have to take positive steps. And we have to be consistent in taking those steps toward our goal to get back to where we want to be. And we need to look to our mentors and role models on what that looks like. We really do. Not that we shift our admiration and inspiration to them only, but we certainly need to use them and evaluate why they're admirable and inspirational and figure out how we can make that happen for ourselves and in ourselves. That's why it's so important to be sure that you are admiring the right people, that you're looking up to the right people, that we take the advice of the right people, the people who are the way we want to be. I always say, who are the way I want to be when I grow up. They're who I want to become. And also to draw from inspirational words of wisdom. I know probably everybody at one point or another has either had little books of quotes or inspiring sayings. You put the Post-it notes all over your bathroom mirror and in your car and all over at work. You do whatever you have to do to remind yourself of all the positive qualities within yourself, so that again you can start believing that you are admirable and that you are inspirational. The friend who was talking about this, who was questioning that, is one of the most admirable and inspirational people that I've met. I've only met her through social media, but it's interesting to me that as I have questioned that about myself, and she's questioning that about herself, and I think maybe sometimes we get scared a little bit, maybe, that we might have that kind of influence on someone else and we don't want to mess it up, and again, it's not of us. And that's the thing I always want people. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're inspired. That is my heart's desire, to inspire you to find how your story connects with God's story. That's my mission in life. And whatever that looks like for you. I am the instrument that God uses. And that doesn't discount what I do, because if I don't write, then the world doesn't get to see that writing. The world doesn't get to share in those truths and in that inspiration that I get from the Holy Spirit. So yes, I play a huge role. I was given a gift, and my job is to deploy that and to use that. But I need to make sure that when I figure out what that looks like, that I'm looking to the right people and the right influences and how I use that gift. Does that make sense? Yes, true fear can really mess us up. It really can. And sometimes it's fear of the work that it's going to take. It's fear of what other people are going to think about us. And that's a very real fear, especially, if we have a tight circle and all of a sudden we decide that we need to change things up. We're going to change the next chapter in the story, and people don't like that. They feel betrayed, maybe. They feel hurt and left behind. So, that can be really hard, and that is scary, and that can sometimes give us that deer in the headlights feeling about becoming who we know that we're supposed to become, or at least trying to figure out who that is. I loved this one. The exact term that this person used was to stand on the shoulders of giants. I love the imagery of that. Again, it goes back to those role models. Everyone I've met who I admire as a person in life that I want to be like is willing to allow me to stand on their shoulders. They're willing to hold me up until I can stand on my own power. And that is a really powerful resource to have. And I'm so lucky to have so many people like that in my life. But we need to seek those people out too. And sometimes we just need to ask. And I have a really kind of an interesting story about this that I kind of went, wow. Years ago when I was writing full time, I was in a lot of author groups, and a lot of us blogged together, and we all kind of bonded and got to be, online friends. And it was really wonderful. And I loved being in that type of a community because everybody was so creative. But some of those people that I've admired for so many years have gone on to publish multiple books that are fantastic books, some of which I read. One in particular, my friend Lori, I've been reading some of her devotionals. I love her sense of humor. I love her, her point of view, and she's doesn't take herself too seriously. And I hope she doesn't mind my sharing this, but I had read one of the devotions, and I shared with her one day. I messaged her and said, this really touched me and this is why. And her response was, you don't know how much I needed to hear that today. And I was just blown away. I was like, what do you mean? I admire you. You're so inspirational. You're so successful. You've written all these wonderful books. And it made me realize that we all need that we all question ourselves, and we all falter sometimes, and, we get knocked down, or life just happens, and it can really make us, it can really hold us back, or it can stop us in our tracks, keep us from making any progress. Yes, our giants need us too, Barbara. That's exactly right. We need to be giants to other people too. So that's kind of what I was talking about when so many people are being so gracious and so kind and telling me, oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh, this is so inspirational. I want it to be inspirational because I want people to realize that somebody like me, who basically checked out of life for 5 years and didn't have any desire to write, faith life almost non-existent, could go on to write a book that has this kind of influence in people's lives, the power to help them find healing and hope. That's what I want to be inspirational. That I found my way back, and that this is how I did it, and hopefully something in my story will help you do it too. I don't want it to be about me beyond my contribution to the story. I want people to be inspired to know that they can be inspirational. Does that make sense? Or am I not explaining myself very well? I feel like I'm kind of rambling. Again, yes, I am proud of myself. I am. And I'm excited for what the future holds now, and for some big plans. But I didn't do it by myself either. I had a whole lot of people lifting me up, surrounding me, encouraging me, modeling for me what I wanted, who I wanted to look like, and who I wanted to be. And if not for that, none of this would have happened. And so that's when people say, you're so inspirational, or you inspire me, I want that to be what I inspire in them, that they can then see in themselves the ability and the possibility of doing what they dream of doing, their God-given dream for the world. So, I won't ramble on about that, because you can, beat a dead horse to death and all that. The one last thing that this author talked about was to connect to your values, and that's one way to get in touch or stay in touch with your dream. You have to continuous learning and growth, and going back to what feeds you, and returning to the ones who inspire you and who lift you up. And here's the biggest thing of all. I always default to scripture. It's what saved me. It's what got me through writing the book and entering back into life. The other reason that we should admire ourselves, that we should be inspired by ourselves, is because God made us. And in scripture, in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. That's the reason that we can admire ourselves and be inspired by ourselves, because we're the way God made us for that reason. Whatever part of God we have in us, that's what we admire, and that's what we're inspired by. 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. I think that is so beautiful, and I think it so captures the journey that so many of us take. It does for me, the journey that I took. And we just have to own that before we can move forward and live fully in our dream. Yes, Psalm 139. Yes, we are wonderfully made, fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, that is one of the all-time greatest ones. 1 Peter 2:9, but I already said that. Psalm 46:5. God is within her. She will not fail. I think that would be an awesome. Remember a couple weeks ago we talked about breath prayers? I think that would be an awesome breath prayer, especially on some of our hard days. God is within her. She will not fail. That's an inspirational and admirable verse to just kind of commit to memory. Proverbs 31:25, she is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. Oh, Barbara, that would be awesome. And the last one, Psalm 28, 76. The Lord is my strength and my shield. Yeah, me too, Natalie. You're talking about the one, Proverbs 31:25. I love the part where it says, and she laughs without fear of the future. I think sometimes that's the scariest part for me, and I think for a lot of us. It's like, okay, what if my dream comes true? Then what's going to happen? Then what will I do? Instead of remembering that we need to just trust the one who got us where we are right now, because he's already got the future all laid out. Just like he was with me those 5 years that I really didn't seek him too much, that I wasn't that happy with him, that I wallowed in my grief and, just wasn't even thinking about the future, but he was already here waiting for me to write that book. And when I think about that, it just takes my breath away. And that's how he is for each of us. He's already where you need to be. So you need to just go. You need to just go because he's waiting. He's already there, and he's already equipped you and empowered you and enabled you. You just need to go. So that's my words of wisdom tonight. Yes, laughter got me through every day because that's how he made me. That's right. That's exactly right. And Barbara, you pour into a lot of people. You love on so many people in so many ways, and that's the gift that he gave you. And what a wonderful gift it is. What a wonderful gift. So that's my parting words of wisdom. He's already there. He's already got the future figured out. You need to just walk right on into it because he'll be waiting there for you. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night and a great rest of the week.